Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Johnny Depp just turned 62. That's right, 62. It's hard to believe, right? For so many of us, Johnny isn't just an actor. He's a sign of being cool, of mystery, of going against the rules. He's the weird outsider who somehow became one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And yet, here we are looking at Johnny Depp in his 60s, and fans everywhere have had the same reaction: shock, surprise, and let's be honest, amazement. Because no matter how much time has passed, Johnny still has that same special quality that made him unforgettable many years ago. Think about it. Johnny's career has lasted over 40 years. That's 4 decades of unforgettable characters, wild changes, and moments that shaped pop culture. From Edward Scissorhands to Captain Jack Sparrow, from Gilbert Grape to Willy Wonka, he's been the guy who could disappear into a role so completely that you forgot you were watching Johnny Depp. But beyond the screen, his personal life has played out like something straight out of a movie too, complete with love stories, problems, court battles, and constant news attention. And now at 62, people are asking the same question. How is he doing? What does he look like? And what's next for him? Fans who saw him recently were amazed. In Europe, during his tour with the Hollywood Vampires, Johnny appeared on stage with his guitar, and it was like time hadn't touched him. Sure, he's older, of course he is, but instead of looking tired or worn down, he looked fresh. The same layered scarves, the quirky hats, the jewelry that's become almost like his special outfit. It was all there. His face showed a man who had lived, yes, but his eyes still sparkled with that same energy people first noticed in the late 80s. When he smiled, it was the smile of someone who knew who he was, who had made peace with his journey, and who wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone anymore. That confidence is amazing because let's not forget, this is a man who's been through battles most of us couldn't imagine. There was a time not long ago when people were wondering if Johnny's career was completely over. The tabloids were mean. Rumors spread like wildfire. Every move he made was picked apart, and the whole world tuned in during the court cases that put his private life on full display. It wasn't just gossip. It became a global event, and through it all, Johnny kept showing up. He walked into those courtrooms with his head high. He let the process happen. And when the verdicts came, when the truth was finally heard, fans felt like they had been proven right too. They'd stood by him, defended him, and now they were proven right to do so. That kind of loyalty between a star and his fans doesn't come along often. So, here we are. Johnny Depp is 62, and instead of fading away, he's showing what it looks like to be a star in your 60s. He's not chasing big movie series the way he used to. Instead, he's picking projects that feel personal. Take Jean Dubarry, for example, a French film where he plays King Louis. It's not your typical Johnny Depp role. It's not apparent or a quirky fantasy character. It's a serious royal role. And when the film premiered at Cannes, the reaction was incredible. Imagine the moment. Johnny Depp, after years of being doubted, walking onto the red carpet and the entire audience giving him a standing ovation. People were cheering, clapping, celebrating him, not just as an actor, but as a survivor. It was a comeback, yes, but more than that, it was our reminder that true talent doesn't disappear. And let's not forget, Dior. While studios and executives hesitated, Dior never stopped supporting him. They stuck by him when others didn't. And it paid off because his fragrance campaign became one of the most successful in the company's history. That's rare in Hollywood. Brands usually run at the first sign of trouble. But Dior stayed with him, and Johnny rewarded them by becoming the face of one of the most famous campaigns ever. That alone showed the world that his star power hadn't dimmed. In fact, it had grown stronger. But if you really want to know where Johnny's heart is, look at his music. Long before he became a household name in film, music was his first love. And now, in his 60s, he's going back to that passion. Touring with the Hollywood Vampires isn't some celebrity side job. It's where he feels free. On stage, guitar in hand, you can see a man who is still living his dream. Fans say his performances are raw, filled with emotion, like every note carries the weight of his experiences. And when you watch him up there, you realize something. Johnny Depp isn't slowing down. He's just putting his energy into the things that make him happiest. But it's not all lights and cameras anymore. Behind the scenes, Johnny has started a quieter, more creative lifestyle. He spends much of his time in Europe, away from the chaos of Hollywood. He paints, he writes, he creates. Those close to him say this is what keeps him calm. It's not about chasing fame anymore. It's about doing what feels right to him. And honestly, you can see the difference. His face looks healthier. His energy feels lighter. It's as if stepping away from the constant Hollywood grind allowed him to finally breathe. And that's probably why people are so shocked when they see him today. At 62, he doesn't look like someone holding on to the past. He looks like someone who's finally comfortable in his own skin. There's a calmness in the way he carries himself, a sense of peace. It's not about, but look closer. Dior wasn't just a business deal. It was a partnership. It was about image, identity, and connection. Dior stuck by Johnny when much of Hollywood hesitated, and Johnny stood by. Dior giving them realness, giving them the face of someone. Dior presents more than just luxury, someone who represents survival, toughness, and timeless appeal. That campaign became one of Dior's most successful ever. And in many ways, it was Johnny telling a story too. Not with dialogue or costume, but with presence, with his face, his style, his very being. And then, of course, there's the music. Music was Johnny's first dream. Before Hollywood, before Jack Sparrow, before the fame, Johnny Depp was a kid with a guitar, chasing the dream of being a rock star, acting cam almost by accident. He once said he only took acting jobs to pay the bills, to support his music. And yet the acting career took off in a way nobody could have predicted. For years, music took a back seat. But now in his 60s, he's coming back to where it all began. Touring with the Hollywood vampires, standing on stage next to legends, guitar in hand, pouring himself into the music. It's a full circle moment. Fans who see him live say there's a different energy there. It's not the Johnny Depp of red carpets and Hollywood premieres. It's the Johnny Depp who never left music behind, who still loves the rawness of a guitar sound, the thrill of a live crowd. And maybe that's the purest version of him. Not the star, not the scandal, not the pirate, just the artist. But it's not just about what the public sees. Behind the scenes, Johnny has built a life that reflects that same belief. He spends time painting. His artworks have been showed and sold, and people are often surprised at how talented he is. But it makes sense. Acting, painting, music, they're all forms of storytelling. And Johnny has always been a storyteller at heart. His art often shows his experiences, his emotions, his view of the world. Each brushstroke is another way of saying, this is who I am. This is what I've lived. Those who know him say this balance, acting when he wants to, making music when he feels it, painting when the mood strikes, is what has kept him healthy both physically and emotionally. At 62, he doesn't look like a man who's burned out by fame. He looks like someone who's finally found peace, someone who has faced chaos and come out the other side with clarity. That clarity is powerful. It's why fans say Johnny is aging like fine wine. He's not fighting time. He's not desperately holding on to youth. He's accepting who he is right now in this moment. And that's rare in Hollywood, where so many stars seem terrified of growing older. Johnny is showing that you can age and still stay relevant, still stay magnetic, still stay true. And maybe that's why his story feels so inspiring, because it's not just about him. It's about what he represents. He represents toughness. He represents the idea that you can lose almost everything. Your reputation, your career, your peace of mind, and still rebuild. He represents the truth that art, when it comes from the soul, can carry you through the darkest storms. Fans feel that. They see it in the way he plays his music. They see it in the calmness of his public appearances. They see it in the way he smiles now, softer, more genuine. And they see it in the way he chooses projects. He's not running after another $1 billion payday. He's choosing roles and projects that matter to him. And because of that, they matter to us too. So when Johnny said, "I've never been interested in being the biggest star. I've always wanted to tell stories that matter. It wasn't just a nice quote for an interview, it was a belief. And at 62, he's proving it was real. He's not the biggest star right now, and he doesn't need to be. He's an artist, an actor, a musician, a painter, and a survivor. And that matters more. When you see Johnny Depp today, you don't just see an aging actor. You see a man who has lived through everything: fame, fortune, heartbreak, battles, victories, and still found a way to stand tall. You see someone who has chosen to tell stories that matter, not to Hollywood, but to himself. And that's why, even at 62, people can't stop watching him, because he's still telling stories. And because those stories, in whatever form they take, still matter to us too. So when people see him today and gasp, it's not just because of how he looks. It's because of what he presents. He's a reminder that you can survive the storms, that you can face down doubt, criticism, and trouble and still come out stronger. He's proof that even when the world says you're finished, you can write your own ending. Johnny Depp at 62 isn't just an actor. He's an artist, a musician, a survivor, and an inspiration to fans who see themselves in his journey. He's not the same man he was at 30 or 40. He doesn't need to be. He's something different now, something deeper, calmer, and maybe even more powerful. And maybe that's why fans feel so connected to him still, because he's real. Flawed, yes. Human, absolutely, but real. So, what do you think? Does it surprise you to see Johnny Depp doing well at 62? Do you think he should step back into Hollywood blockbusters or keep following his path with music, art, and independent films? It's a debate fans love to have, and there's no wrong answer. One thing's for sure, Johnny's story isn't over. Not by a long shot. He's still out there creating, performing, and connecting with fans. And if the past few years have taught us anything, it's this: never count Johnny Depp out. So the next time you see him, whether it's on stage with his guitar in a painting he shared or walking another red carpet, remember this moment. Johnny Depp is 62, and he's still making people gasp. Not because he's changed too much, but because he's still unmistakably himself.